Hello again, everybody. Well, I've had a few requests. One of the more interesting requests is that people would like to see a driving look at the Raccoon Mountain Pumped Storage facility. So that's what I'm going to do today. We are right around the corner, and we are literally going to do a just unedited, and unless I drop the device. So if you see a cut, I apologize. But we're going to go check out Raccoon Mountain Pumped Storage and just drive around. We're not going to go to the visitor center. This is just to show the layout of the place. Now, for those of you that don't know, TVA's Raccoon Mountain Pumped Storage is an interesting thing. What it does is it pumps up water from the Tennessee River into a holding lake, and that lake then stores that water, and when they need a big dump of peak power, then they let it run back down and it generates electricity. It's actually cheaper to operate than firing up a coal plant or firing up a gas turbine plant. So, and it's also greener. So anyway, this is on the way in, and there is kind of a lengthy little drive in for what it is, but we're going to end up at the intake structure. And if you want to see what the intake structure looks like, I will put a link to my older Raccoon Mountain video down below, and y'all can click on that and see kind of a more detailed look. Now we should be passing the road to this little cemetery that's back here. I actually have filmed it before. Should be here on the right shortly. And again, if you want to see that one, you can go back through my older videos. I actually have it in my cemetery list, if I am not mistaken. And another interesting thing is that road that you just saw to the left actually is going to private property. So TVA kind of has a slice coming down, and then it veers off to private property. And there's the road that goes to the cemetery. This is the McNabb Cemetery if people want to look. You can also see, as you can see in the distance, why this section of the Tennessee River is called the Grand Canyon of the Tennessee River. We are literally in a very large valley in between mountains. Bigger vehicle stuff, so it looks like they are still adding new equipment in and renovating this, making it more modern. It was built in the 70s, so changing out the equipment for newer equipment makes it much more efficient. But just look at that. It's just impressive. And the intake structure is right here on the left. And that is where the water goes in and out of the system, and it breaks it up so that it doesn't just drive right out. And then as we drive over this little bridge, the pipe work to go into the mountain is right there. We're going to keep going this way. Every time an email or a text message comes in, you'll hear a beep. Things about this place too is it is free to come down in here. You don't have to pay anything, and it does have biking trails and hiking trails, so not having an entry fee is a good thing. The only thing that it'll really cost you is gasoline or diesel if your vehicle does that. Now, where the garbage cans are is an exit to another private property. So you can, it's interesting to see how the private property comes right up against the edge. Of course, you know, they're not making any more land, especially land next to a river like the Tennessee River. I believe it does close at sunset, and when we get up here to the visitor center does operate on Central Time, not Eastern Standard. Through the saddle. Now we will be coming back this way and exiting out onto what is known as that's what you see on the left there, but we will come back to that here in a few. Bikers here, so you do have to be cautious of that. as we come up here to the top, it is a one-way for most of it. Now, over to the left there is a scenic view area and a parking area. We'll show you that on the way out. And the entire lake is actually behind fencing. And there's a good reason for it. Since they're pumping the water up into the lake and back down, they don't want to risk people getting drowned or injured or anything because of the water flow. Thing to pay attention to up here too is there is wildlife up here. We are kind of out in the boonies. I have seen lots of deer up here. I have heard a bear, but it's been many years since I heard the bear. I have also seen deer. So just keep that in mind as you're driving or biking. Little peak. You can see a little portion of the lake. First big view of the lake is going to be here. And it is always impressive to see. Now we are going to just show you this. We're not going to run in here. Here is the switch yard, and the switch yard is where the power that's generated gets into the grid. If you ever sit up here, those things, you know what, we'll go in here and take a look. If you see these white egg-looking things, they call those dinosaur eggs. Those are actually fiberglass mufflers. They have pneumatic systems to engage and disengage the breakers. So if you're up here when they start generating power, you'll hear a bunch of pow-pow noises as the switches get engaged. But we're gonna go this way. It looks like the lake is fairly full. Maybe not 100%, but fairly full. And like I said, this is only used as an on-demand kind of peak power system. Think of it like a great big battery. When they fill it up, it's charged and ready to go. Hill a little bit, the intake structure where all of the water enters the generation system is right there. That is a roughly 1,000-foot drop going into that, but like I said, we are not going to stop. We are just doing a driving tour now. Oh, it is closed, so in there is where the visitor center is, and I guess I am too late for the day, or they didn't have volunteers. We'll go in here. I can show you at least the parking area for the intake structure. Now, the intake structure is an impressive structure, and if you want to see more what it looks like, like I said, I have a more detailed video of this place, and I'll show you what it looks like. And there's a sign up there. I believe the intake structure is actually taller than the Statue of Liberty. So you park here, and right there is where you can see it. But we're going to keep going straight out of here. Now, I was wrong. It is a 2-lane coming up to this point. Once you hit this point, it is a one-way stretch. And this is going to go around the dam. As you can see, it is a pretty impressive sight to behold. And while I don't have anybody on that side, you can see that it is fairly low down. Matter of fact, I think this is one of TVA's biggest riprap. I may be wrong on the terminology. Dams, but it just blows my mind that yes, we are physically on a mountain, and we've got this giant lake right here. Jerky. Storm's getting ready to come through here in a little while, and the wind is blowing quite aggressively up here. Now, the mountain that's straight across there is Lookout Mountain, so you can literally see, kind of, sort of, the point there is where Point Park is. Next stop, we are going to loop through what is known as Laurel Point. It's a big picnic area. It's also, it had a baseball diamond. I don't know if the baseball diamond is still there or if they've just turned it into a greenway, but it's a larger area where you can do events and have picnics and whatnot. It's also the start of where more of the heavy-duty biking trails are. To park over in here, the River Gorge Trail. Now, at some point in the future, I will try to come up here and do a little bit of a hike so I can show you guys this, but it's going to be a little bit. Coincidentally, right about in those woods is where I heard the bear all those years ago. We are kind of more remote. This is a larger area. Huh. I don't know if that's solar panels or not. I don't think it is. It might be. That's an area where a lot of the bikers will do. And it looks like, while they still have the fence up, it looks like they have turned it just more into a green space. As you can see, there's plenty of parking all over the place. And there is a pavilion and a little playground and stuff over in that area. But we're going to continue on this way. Up to the main loop. Now don't forget, it's one way. You can see the top of the intake structure way over there. We're gonna go this way. Filmed that earlier. So over there is the great big quarry that's near Lookout Valley that you see now. Of course, trees are blocking it now, so you can't see it, but man, it looks like they are getting ready to go through the side of the mountain. Thing to see, and then we'll be on our way back down the mountain. you can see one of the trail entrances, but we're going to go loop here into the Overlook Area, which has a really good look down into Chattanooga. It's also where a lot of people park their bike, where they get off for their bikes. Now, there is plenty of documentation online about the hiking trails, biking trails, maps, all that good stuff. As you can see, this is a heck of a view down into Chattanooga. Now, today's not exactly a good day. It's a little too humid. So the colder and drier it gets, i.e. in the wintertime, the cleaner the air looks. Our last little jaunt down the hill. I guess they have signs now to show if the bike trails are open. I did not notice those before. Now, as much as you guys may have enjoyed seeing this on video, this is much more cool to see in person. This is also one of the places that I like for everybody, because since you can drive most of the way up here and it's flat pretty much everywhere, this is one of the more handicapped accessible journeys that I can recommend to people. Plus, only being 10 minutes or so out of downtown Chattanooga, unless you know about it, you wouldn't really know it's here. Come down to this final exit, I'm going to get off on what I told you, which is Elder Mountain. There's another little community. It's just a little bit quicker way to get off. It's not quite as scenic, but since I have shown you guys everything, that is pretty much it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this little driving tour of Raccoon Mountain Pumped Storage. As always, I'm off to go on some more journeys. So until then, why don't you go on a journey of your own? We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.